There is huge anticipation surrounding Stage 2 of a Giro already bursting into life. This morning, the race caravan woke up in the beautiful city of Burgas, where yesterday 22-year-old Frenchman Paul Magnier of Soudal Quickstep stormed into the first Maglia Rossa of the race with a sprint that combined raw power and perfect tactical timing. Only fourth place for Italy's Jonathan Milan boxed out in a chaotic finale, also marked by a crash inside the final 600 meters.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty short night of sleep, so maybe the battery will be a bit empty, but I think the motivation will take over, and yeah, we are all super motivated, so we will see how it goes in the final K.
But there is no time to celebrate or to dwell on what went wrong. Today's stage is tough, unpredictable, and potentially decisive already for the general classification contenders. From the Venice of Bulgaria, the peloton heads inland, and after 220 kilometers, the riders will arrive in Veliko Tarnovo, perched above the rocky banks of the Yantra River, one of the tributaries of the Danube. This is far from a transition stage.
It's very different to yesterday. Yesterday was a bunch sprint, and yeah, today is a hard climb in the end, and it will be interesting to see what other guys have of plans, and yeah, how hard the climb actually is and how many guys can survive it.
A fiery finale where the pure sprinters will be pushed to their limits by riders with explosive acceleration. And so, it would be no surprise to see the Maglia Rossa already change shoulders. Much like 2 years ago in Tadej Pogačar, despite suffering a puncture and a crash before the final climb, attacked with 4.5 kilometers remaining in Stage 2, won solo and claimed his first Maglia Rossa.
What a victory from Pogačar, and he will be in the Maglia Rossa tomorrow.
Will race favourite Jonas Vingegaard try something similar today? The Dane's main rival, Italy's Giulio Pellizzari, has the perfect characteristics for this kind of explosive finish, and both riders could step into the spotlight after riding cautiously on the opening stage.
Siamo sempre in attesa dell'inizio del trasferimento verso il chilometro zero.
Cloudy skies greet the riders at the start, with occasional breaks in the clouds and temperatures sitting just above 17 degrees. Rain is also a possibility later in the stage, especially near the finish. There is bad news before the start for Matteo Moschetti, who is forced to abandon the race after suffering a concussion in yesterday's crash. As soon as the flag drops, two riders from Team Visma Malta launch the day's breakaway. Mirko Maestri and the current Azzurra jersey holder Diego Pablo Sevilla, already active yesterday in an early escape alongside Tarozzi. The peloton allows them some freedom and the gap quickly begins to grow. The strategy from Team Visma Malta is clear. By placing two riders in the breakaway, the team aims to help Pablo Diego Sevilla collect more mountain points and defend his lead in the King of the Mountains classification, with the ambition of bringing the Azzurra jersey into Italy. Was also the best climber this year's Tirreno Adriatico, but he's still chasing the first major victory of his professional career. At 35 years old, Mirko Maestri is the veteran of the team and a rider well accustomed to long breakaways far from the finish. The stage settled into familiar rhythm. The peloton remains firmly in control, careful not to let the advantage grow too large. And amid the action, there's also time to highlight Jonas Vingegaard's support for a charity initiative dedicated to protecting children, wearing a painted red fingernail as a symbol against child abuse. With 140 kilometers still to go, after already spending 80 kilometers out front, the advantage of Diego Pablo Sevilla and Mirko Maestri begins to fall, stabilizing at around 5 minutes. Even so, the peloton remains a long way behind.
1 chilometro al traguardo, volante di Sliven per I due uomini al comando.
There is no battle for the line. Sevilla rolls through first, ahead of Maestri. Behind them, the sprint trains begin to organize for third place. Maglia Rossa Paul Magnier takes it comfortably without any real challenge. Meanwhile, these KPs begin the first true climb of this Giro towards the Bila Pass. Fatigue is starting to build, and the feared rain has finally arrived.
Sevilla and Maestri, as it was before the intermediate sprint, on top of the Bila Pass.
The peloton raises the tempo and immediately takes back 1 minute on the leaders, who now focus entirely on reaching the first King of the Mountains sprint. They get there safely and, unsurprisingly, Diego Sevilla collects another 9 points, strengthening his grip on the climbers' classification. Behind, the bunch continues to accelerate, bringing the gap to the two Team Visma Malta riders below 3 minutes. Their objective is now simple: survive until the second King of the Mountains sprint. After that, resisting the peloton's chase will become almost impossible.
The leading is at 2 kilometers to the Vratnik Pass mountain sprint.
Mirko Maestri continues his impressive work on the front, helping his teammate on the climb towards the Vratnik Pass. At 920 meters above sea level, the highest point reached so far in this Giro. The two riders achieve their goal, and once again Pablo Diego Sevilla takes the maximum points, adding another 9 to defend his Azzurra jersey. Behind them, the pace in the peloton keeps rising. Teams fight for position at the front before cresting the summit and tackling the wet descent ahead. The gap to the breakaway is now down to around 2 minutes. After the descent, contrary to what many expected, Diego Pablo Sevilla and Mirko Maestri keep pushing on at the front. They continue their effort through increasingly heavy rain, but their breakaway finally comes to an end with 27 kilometers remaining. The peloton completes the chase and the race enters its decisive phase, unfortunately marked by a massive crash caused by the soaked roads.
Attenzione, crash, caduta massiva, caduta.
Big pile up on the left-hand side of the road. Picnic Postanel heavily involved. A rider from EF there, picking himself up. Yellow jerseys there from Visma, Lease.
The peloton splits apart and immediately slows down. So many riders are involved that ambulances need to make their way through the race convoy, forcing the stage to be temporarily neutralized before racing resumes shortly afterward. The first objective after the restart is the Red Bull kilometer, where Egan Bernal takes 6 bonus seconds.
Egan Bernal with 2 teammates in second and third.
Then the race heads towards the decisive climb to the Jaskovec monastery. David Pinganzoli, working for Jonas Vingegaard, sets a brutal pace on the front, with his leader glued to the wheel.
Posizioni del po' oltre a Vingegaard, anche Pellizzari è molto attivo.
Vingegaard attacks twice on the climb and reaches the summit first at the King of the Mountains banner, ahead of Giulio Pellizzari and Lennart van Etveld. The three riders continue their move and plunge into the descent on still damp roads. Pellizzari fully commits alongside an aggressive Vingegaard and van Etveld as they try to hold off the chasing group and fight for the stage, and potentially the Maglia Rosa.
Everything is possible, come on, also Davide.
We've got Christian Scaroni. He's not the only XTS Astana rider in the fold here. Giulio Pellizzari, Egan Bernal in the mix. XTS Astana have it though, 100 meters to go. It's XTS Astana though with Giulio Ciccone coming with a charge. Oh, that's going to be tight. XTS Astana. Let's have a look, just to confirm it was Thomas Silva.
In a dramatic sprint finish and thanks to a perfectly timed bike throw, Uruguay's Tomás Silva edges out Florian Stork and Giulio Ciccone, with Christian Scaroni finishing fourth. The XTS Astana rider becomes the first Uruguayan ever to win a stage of the Giro d'Italia and the first to wear the Maglia Rosa.
Y bueno, la verdad que estén aquí en mi primer Giro de Italia, poder regalarle una victoria y la Maglia Rosa es algo muy especial para mí.
Former race leader Paul Magnier crosses the line 2 minutes and 9 seconds down. In the general classification, Silva now leads, with Stork and Bernal sitting 4 seconds behind, followed closely by the rest of the contenders. Tomorrow brings another opportunity for the sprinters. A 175-kilometer stage from Plovdiv to Sofia, the nation's capital, will close out the Bulgarian Grande Pardenza of this Giro. A stage divided into 2 distinct sections, a gently rising first half, a second category climb with 70 kilometers remaining, and then a long gradual descent leading to the final 8 flat kilometers. And then the race returns to Italy, where another chapter of this story is ready to begin.